Hi everybody, it's Sandy and it's time for the new moon rose reading, and I'm here in a different part of the Rosy Temple today. You can see a little bit of the New Forest up behind me, and it's a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, and Sunday it feels really sort of quite quiet out here. It's there's a real sense that this new moon has had such an internal process about it. It was a new moon last evening just before midnight here in the UK, and as ever when you come into a new moon, that time coming up to the absolute zenith, when the moon is at its exactitude, either in its direct connection with the sun or in its opposite position, then the energies are becoming more and more intense. Whatever this particular moon has in its gift for you, then the energies were actually coming much stronger as it came towards midnight last night in the UK. So that would have been about 7 p.m. on the east coast of the States. So these are interesting times, you know, when you start to see the energies as they're starting to play here. And this new moon in Taurus is it feels very much connected to this evolutionary path that we're on, that is very connected to the earth. Taurus is an earth sign, and this is a calling deep within each and every one of us to look at our way of life, our way. Good morning, Lee. How we actually show up in our own lives and how we show up in our connection to our journey here on Mother Earth. So much going on in the outer world that is really reflecting this calling deep within us, deep back within, to reflect really deeply on what can we do, or what have we come here to play our unique part. What's our unique voice in this evolving time? Hi Erica, hi Elias. So yes, this is powerful time and so interesting. Yeah, good to see you too, Erica. So these are powerful. This is a powerful time, and again, you know, it's a new moon. So here we come into this place of another pulse point and another opportunity to look and say, what seeds am I planting? What am I shifting here? What's this opportunity opening up for me? So this new moon is the kick-off for 6 months of experience. The mirror match to this new moon will be in October. So we've got a bigger cycle that's playing out here as well as this new moon being the journey that is taking us to the Taurus full moon, and that is actually connected into the festival of Vesak. Now Vesak is an ancient ceremony that has always been activated on this Taurus full moon in May, and the story goes that there is a hidden valley in the Himalayas that those that know, the initiates that know, make their way to this hidden valley, which is called Shambhala, and they form particular geometries within that. The initiates form geometries within that valley, which enable the Christ and the Buddha figures to come forward into the valley and bring a dispensation for humanity, which is filtered through the geometries, and therefore can be then taken out to humanity. So it's one of the most important spiritual festivals of the year, and this new moon sets us in preparation. So the question is, you know, how do you want your life to be? What are you pruning and clearing the dead wood from? What are you planting now that is going to start to seed as we go into this new phase? So powerful time to be looking at how you want your life to be. Who resonates for you? Who is an inspiring and interesting co-creator for your path ahead? It's interesting, today here in the Rosie Temple I've just been setting the grid up. I've got Trevor RJ coming, who is an international sound healer, and he's bringing all of his bowls, weaving them with my Tibetan bowls and Alchemy crystal bowls to create a wonderful soundscape, and we're going to weave that with some rosy magic to create a fabulous energy here this afternoon. So actually there might be an opportunity to do a Facebook Live around that to share some of the magic as well. But yes, this is a time of really recognising who we resonate with, who holds a place in which we feel expanded and we feel inspired and on track alongside. And those are the people that we really want to make sure that we get to spend time in co-creative enterprise with. And that can be as simple as having dinner with, you know, sharing food, sharing a meal. And interesting, again, we come into the fact that this is a Taurus new moon, and it's that earth sign, this feeling of connecting to nature, to nourishment, and again, that may be that you need to look and see, is there any refinement that you need to make in your diet? Is there any refinement that you need to make in your physical space? And one of the things that I'm taking the opportunity of with the group here today is that I've had a clear out in my books, and books for me are quite seductive. I have no problem whatsoever in making an excuse for another book. But there comes a limit. So there's a time when there needs to be a releasing and a letting go in order for something new to evolve and something new to come forward. So yeah, this Taurus energy and this time that we've seen in London, the Extinction Rebellion, people, with the work there. And then there's also, I was listening to David Attenborough on a recording this morning, and him eloquently talking about the fact that this is the sixth mass extinction on the planet, and what activation we can make in order to play a part in that process of being so consciously aware of what's actually happening in the natural world around us. These are important times for us to have a voice, important times for us to actually walk our talk, to look at the plastic usage, to look at how we choose to find the food that we put into our physical bodies. Everything is vibration. And when we choose to buy good, healthy food, perhaps locally sourced food that is sourced within 5 miles of our place of living, has a frequency resonance that allows the nutrition to be absorbed at a cellular level with far greater ease, because the body recognizes the food. So when we can source very, very locally to us, that's where we need to go. We need to be really looking at how we change ourselves. It's as Gandhi said, be the change, and we have to make conscious choices if we are going to make a difference. Hi Lucia, hi Laura. I'm seeing some different faces popping up on the feed this morning. So yeah, and actually, as you know, the Rosie Temple space is now right in the heart of the New Forest. So the opportunity of being very much immersed in the natural world is very, very interesting. And the awareness of the seasons, the awareness of the weather. As you can see, I've got a big sky outside here in the glass room, and this is an interesting space. This is this particular space was the reason that I was drawn to be here in this particular cottage. It has an interesting and very balanced yet grounded cosmic energy portal, which is just a joy to meditate in, and called me in to do the reading in here today. So you may have a sense of that. It's got a strong connection to Venus and a strong connection to Sirius. So this is there are powerful cosmic energies that are also influencing our pathway forward. My biggest question, I think, in this last month is, what now? What am I being called to? What am I being called to be a voice of that is authentic and is in my highest alignment for this particular part of my journey? And I know many of us are looking at this recalibration. You know, what the journey this far has taken me here, and what is my part that I'm being called to play in this new earth, in this powerful place of constructing and being that part in this new earth template. There is a real calling as we move through 219 to fully activate the gifts that we came with. It's not happenstance that we happen to be incarnate at this particular point. We chose to be here with our gifts, and it is our responsibility to be diligent and to have honed those crafts as well as we can to be able to hold our part of the light grid, that are part of the template, in order to assist in this rebirthing process, this reawakening process of the consciousness of the divine feminine, but also the consciousness of the earth, how we co-create with her, how we show up in a way that is actually being able to inspire others, and also to be a part of this frequency alignment and upshift that is being called for. So, 3 roses, and let's see which one you feel that you are most aligned to. So, hi Joanne, are you drawn to rose card 1? Are you drawn to rose card 2? Or are you drawn to rose card 3? So, if you were drawn to rose card 1, she is Rose Ma 8. Now this is actually a David Austin rose, and she is called the Lark Ascending. She's got big sort of curls, very unusual looking rose. She's actually a moss rose, and very, very scented, and she's got big curls in the inside here. And she sits in the Rose Ma set, and she says, I am creative. This is the essence of who I am. And when we look at this aspect of creativity, it isn't, painting or writing. It's got a broader spectrum of possibility here. This can be it can be simply, being really creative in expressing the essence of who you are through your clothing, through your space. It's the absolute heart. It's like being able to express who you are from that deep place of heart, this place of being so connected and so aligned with who you are that it is an effortless expression, that it goes through everything you do. Yesterday I went to a beautiful new retreat space that's opened up in the New Forest at something called the East Close Hotel. Now there's a little story here, because the East Close Hotel used to have alongside it a bar called the Saddle Bar, and in the 70s, oh my goodness, it ages me. In the 70s, I used to live local to the East Close Hotel and the Saddle Bar, and actually in my teens worked behind the bar in the Saddle Bar, which was one of the most popular drinking places in the whole area. It would be absolutely heaving on a Friday and a Saturday night. So it was really super interesting to look at the current owners and making it into a very zen healing space, a sanctuary space, a retreat. And yesterday I went to join with Heike Jenkins and Alexandra Jowett to be immersed in the astrology of the current new moon, and to actually work with drums and sound in moving the energies. So this place of the creative way that we work at things and the creative way that we look at things is a broad spectrum. You know, Heike had an amazing way of creativity with sound, and Alexandra had created the most beautiful spread of homemade cakes and just beautifully laid out in that natural expression of her. So what I'm saying is our creativity goes out in lots of different ways, and for those of us that have a very sort of creative aspect to ourselves, we really receive and appreciate the innate creativity that's put out. So the other way that has popped into mind when I was tuning into this rose for this reading is that sometimes we have to be creative in our solutions for situations. So the universe can provide us with circumstances whereby we might feel particularly stuck in not seeing a way forward. And actually this rose, if you work with her, can inspire out of the box thinking, that you actually are looking at your circumstances from a different perspective, and sometimes that can bring you the greatest of insights and breakthrough in how creative solutions can come forward to seemingly intransigent situations. So if you were drawn to Rose card 1, Rose Ma 8, she is actually offering you a window of creative thinking. So that may be in opening out to a new creative expression of yourself. It may be in taking your creative expression and putting it out there, putting it out in the world, and just trusting that process. Or she may be saying there is a circumstance that you can't quite see the pathway through yet, but she's inviting you to take an alternative perspective that unlocks the situation. So if you were drawn to Rose card 2, she is Rose Angel 10. Now she is one of the roses that is a jewel of transformation. This rose sits in base second chakra, and she offers you a ruby jewel in working with her. So sorry, I've got a cat that has heard my voice and is trying to break through the door. It's just, I can hear this going on. And the more I speak, of course, the more she can hear me, which is hilarious. So this rose, she is calling us deep within that place of really acknowledging ourselves. Self-love, self-value, self-esteem. This is the ruby jewel that anchors and enlivens the base second chakra in the body. This is the place that we need to have the rooted foundation in. Good morning, Chris. That it allows us to fully blossom. Look at this rose. I mean, she's called the Queen of Sweden. And interesting, she's another David Austin rose. But it's like she's rooted, and that petal opening out is the invitation in. This invitation into self-love, self-care. You know, she may be inviting you to say, okay, there's another level of self-care that you're being called to. Another level of openness to really nourish self and dive deep within, because this is the foundation and this is the root. When we are rooted in this base second chakra, this is the place in which we blossom. Many of you will remember the story of my childhood and the connection with the little cottage in the New Forest that my grandparents lived in. And my grandfather was a professional gardener, and he had a rose garden in front of the garden. And I can remember him going out and getting the fresh manure from the unmade up road where the horses and the cattle and the pigs in the forest went up and down. And he would bring those in and put those on his roses. I see this rose with her root deep within that base second chakra for us. And we know that's where we hold some of the most challenged stories of our journey, of our human journey, but also our journey as women. This is, this place of self-love, self-value, self-esteem is the place which, when we are fully rooted and grounded there, the arising from that to fully bloom, to fully hold that sense of our uniqueness. A rose doesn't want to be a daffodil or a tulip. She just wants to be the best rose that she can be. And there is no happenstance that the saying goes, stop and smell the roses. This place of recognizing the beauty in our lives, recognizing the gifts that we've been given and the blessings of the journey, all allow her to fully blossom and into the fullness of who she is. I mean, this is the beauty of a rose. But this challenge to self-love, this challenge to have self-esteem, how many times have we given away in order perhaps to be safe and loved? I know this has been my script, and it hasn't necessarily ended too well for me in the process of, but obviously in the bigger cycle of the learning, it is magnificent what the soul called forward for experience and to grow. I mean, this is true alchemy. When we come into this life and we come into the family of our origin and we experience what we experience, this brings us the very lead that we have, that is our gift in the transformation into our gold. So here she is, Rose card 2, and she is Rose Angel 10. If you were drawn to Rose card 3, she is Rose Angel 6. And it's always interesting when the Rose Angels come up, because they are the real hub of the Rose Oracle deck. They're the real pivot point. They sit in the middle of the deck. And this is the rose that is all about the throat and speaking our truth. Now, what is really fascinating is that the base second chakra is seen as the seat of creativity. It's the seat of procreation and our creative essence. But this rose also sits in there as well, in the second chakra. So what we know is that the throat is the higher octave of the sacral chakra. So when we are rooted in our creativity, when we are rooted and grounded in that sense of self-esteem and self-value and ultimately self-love, the way we speak doesn't come from up here. It comes from deep presence within our body. And this is what this rose is coming and calling us for. She is the jewel of sapphire, this jewel in the throat. But she is this beautiful place of, this is my truth. This is what I stand for. This is my voice. And, you know, sometimes from a creative point of view, it is a singing voice, or it is, you know, it is that place of speech. But she is saying, you need to speak from your truth, and only from your truth. No people pleasing, no speaking in order to be loved. You need to speak from truth. You need to speak from that deepest part of you, that deepest knowing part of you. Because when you bring that energy up through the body, into the solar plexus, into holding that energy, and then you move it up into the heart field and truly own it from a wisdom place. It's not an intellectual place, it's a wisdom place. That this resonates for me through my body, and then I speak. And the other thing, of course, is that we know that words carry vibration. And so there needs to be this discernment in the timing of our sharing, but also that we use this discernment in how something is shared. So this calls us into this power place of owning, completely owning what is being said and owning the truth of the frequency of the words that we share. Gosh, this has been a really, really powerful reading. Yeah, fascinating what comes to be shared. So we have Rose Card 1 and Rosemar 8, Rose Card 2, Rose Angel 10, and Rose Angel 6, which is Rose Card 3. So these all together have a particular weave. Oh, Erica, yeah, loving the weave, so am I. This is just incredible, because I actually watched my resistance this morning in doing a rose reading. There was a resistance that I had to overcome. Anyway, these are our 3 roses. Creative expression, self-love, self-value, self-esteem. And often, you know, do you know when I made all of those wedding dresses for years and years and years, and we made stunningly beautiful wedding dresses, I never really had any sense of personal connection to the work, because this was a piece that wasn't really there for me. I made wedding dresses, and I made them to the very best of my ability, but I had no real anchor point in my body that was truthful and authentic in self-love. I didn't value the creativity, the amazing creativity I had in that expression. So you can see the three of these work together. There is a place now where we fully have to own who we are. We have to own our creativity. We have to be able to own it fully in the body and be in the body with it, and have the courage to stand and say, this is who I am, and this is what I do. This is my doingness in the world. So it's like these all work together that bring a harmony between being and doing. And we started off this particular reading talking about being the change. And so this place in which we are redefining ourselves, we are reconnecting our energy to the natural world. We are reconnecting and owning our connection with Mother Earth. We are reconnecting and owning our connection with our sacred selves and the magic of our hearts. And it's then that we gift and share it to the world. So, goodness me, I hadn't expected this as the reading today. Thank you so much for joining me. And I wish you an amazing Sunday, and to think about what you might be seeding tomorrow. I learnt yesterday in my time with Alexandra and Heike the importance of presence in the body, but also that when we're in a new moon, when we're still in the energy of the new moon, is when we can really dive deep into that sense of what it is that we are wanting to seed for this next cycle. So one of the beautiful gifts that came from yesterday was that Alexandra sent us all home with sunflower seeds, and we were instructed to wait until Monday to plant them, when we can see the first slither of the new moon. So I invite you to find some places in which you can seed something tomorrow, and with that seed a new part of your journey, a new part in your journey forward and your future. So, oh, happy birthday, Judith. Wonderful. Yeah, and I'm sure that you will be, it's a solar return for you, so you will have been very, very activated on this new moon and very blessed for this new phase, for your path forward. So seed some extra special seeds tomorrow, Judith. Okay, so from the Rosy Temple and the wonderful new moon and new forest, with much love and rosy blessings. Bye for now. Bye-bye.